G'day and welcome to another slow and steady video here on the channel. My name is KT and today is Trucking Tuesday, back on the road with the long drive south. We've had a good sleep and we've woken up in the middle of the night and we're going to head down to, well, I said in the last video that it was Munich, but I was corrected by Tox2 themselves saying it's actually Munich. Munich is the place that we're heading down, so we've been driving from the northern part of the map and we've been driving to the southern part of the map just for a bit of fun really, and to see how long that would take in real time. We're rocking the Scania there, and that's my beautiful black truck that we've been having for quite a while now really, and this looks stunning. Look at this night sky. That is it's you know, it's a good looking game with the recent graphical update that we've had. Let's take a look at the map and see where we are heading. So we are heading, I think we started off in, I can never say it, Kiel. We headed halfway down the map and we ended up in Kassel. Hope I'm saying that correctly. And we're going to head all the way down to Munich, which is actually Munich. What we do here is we actually set a real-time stopwatch, and with that we'll be able to determine how long it takes us to get all the way down to the bottom of the map. So setting a stopwatch in a second, so that's set up. Let's jump in the truck. Now will be a night drive because we've recently had a sleep, so we can pretty much go to the tacho, change the mode. Driving time 9 hours, so we should be able to accept that mode, which is fine, and we'll get the truck started up. I think we'll throw on some lights. Let's go up to let's have a look at our beautiful truck from the outside. Yeah, it's still a really, probably, I think most people would agree. Let's get the fudge out of here. I think most people would agree that this is probably, at the moment, the best, really one of the best trucking games that you can find on console. Of course, there's a whole bunch of them dropping this year, and still no dates on any of those trucks. Let's just indicate here a second. I'm sure this will be the way. Yep, we have a plethora of games coming out. We've got Road Kings, of course. That's the narration. It will be a narration. Looks like it's a narration type game with a driver sort of heading through maybe what looks like a story mode. That's interesting, from Focus Interactive. We also, let's start this timer. Goodness me. Here we go. Real time then, and we've got the second game, of course, from Road Truckers. Truck, was it Australia? Oh, goodness me. And trucking is one of our key genres, and here I am making an absolute hash of it. But I'm shooting this very early in the morning. I've only just had one cup of tea, Alaskan Road Truckers is a game, again, pretty close to my heart, and let's get a cruise control. I do enjoy Alaskan Road Truckers. Of course, we're doing the very same with that map, and we're heading from the north to the south just to see how long that would take in real time. I'm curious, just for my own curiosity really, and then we'll be back to normal trucking, I'm sure, doing hauls and stuff, but just want to do something a bit different really. And yeah, if you're joining me on this trip for this bit of, probably around, I don't know, I'm going to say it's about half an hour trip, and if you want to listen to me waffle on for half an hour, and maybe you've got me up on the windowsill or of the kitchen while doing washing up and stuff like that. Do you know, I laugh, but genuinely, I normally watch Game Tech UK, Jason, and I'd normally do my house chores, or, yeah, so that's how I watch my videos. course, yeah, I don't know, there's some great content creators out there, and you know, it's nice to have different people's opinions on it. And of course, everyone has an opinion, and that's what we say on the channel. Opinions are like assholes, and everybody has one, and rightly so as well. You know, it's but no, this game is obviously recently had its graphical update, and you know, we often speak about it'll be interesting to sort of see how Tux 2 navigate the waters of the trucking world. We also have Truck World Australia. Did a recent video on that, speaking about, you know, I was going through all their devlogs, and they're still very, you know, working very, very hard on that game. And there was some mighty confusion around the late 2025 release, which of course, well, doing some digging, it looks like that 2025 release should have been the demo / first tool, although it was super confusing because it looked like the whole game was coming out. But digging deeper into the devlogs, the game's not ready. You know, they're still working on, they've added 20 new roads to that game, and you know, it's I don't think it's due to come anytime soon, which, you know, is fine. I don't want these games rushed anyway. I mean, that project, someone did say in the comments actually that that the game was halted on development and didn't have any work done on it for about 9 months. So that might explain why there's been like a, you know, quite a big delay. But we've got this road truck new beginning. Road truckers, I don't know, forgive me, it's I'm not quite awake yet, and yeah, but no, you know, feel free to put in the comments what game you're looking forward to. Of course, we're all looking forward to the STS, ETS2, and ATS, and myself included. Can't wait to bring that to the channel, and yeah, have loads of ideas, and just can't wait to start my trucking journey, really, you know. But it would have been nice to see this game over the past 5 years, I think. Let's just, might indicate out here a second, because we haven't seen that much added to this particular game, and I think it has been left in the wake slightly. But you know, they did have a you know, they were trending certainly with this graphical update. And rightly so, really. And just check that mirror, I'm able to come over. So let's take up this lane. But rocking the Thrustmaster 248 today. Oh, do I need that left lane properly? I'm just going to check the map, just because it does get super confusing. So it wants us to sort of take this right lane off of here, but then sort of come back onto this carriageway. Now, we did make a mistake in the previous video, so I'm gonna stay, what did it say, right lane? Yeah. Let's come over slightly. Stuttgart, I think, yeah, that's it, down through there. But yeah, I'm just curious whether it's gonna join that highway there that we've just come over. No, look, it goes over a flyover, so it does indeed travel down. I was talking to a subscriber called Northlander, and they were talking about how they set up multiple deliveries, and his immersion and commitment to you know, bringing immersion to this game is next level. So do check out some of his comments in the videos. I should actually try one of his multi-drop deliveries, to be fair. I think it looks quite interesting. So it's 20 to 6 in the morning. That's not far off of real time, actually, when I'm shooting this. But yeah, driving into the morning here on the road. Let's just slow up while that orange car is going to come on. come over. Yeah, just get on those brakes slightly. Anticipating the traffic as best we can. But I hope everyone is well. To any new subscribers, thank you for being here and for being part of the sort of trucks, motorbikes, and horses. I do really appreciate it. And yeah, I think we're all just waiting on these games, really. There's nothing new to talk about with this game. You've seen it all before, really. Although I rarely come down to the bottom of the map. This southern part of Germany, I don't think I've explored that much. There is some great elevation changes. And of course the draw distance has been massively improved. Let's get on for a bit of cruise control, I think. And unlike Alaskan Road Truckers, we do actually have other vehicles here on the road, so other lorries, and it makes the game sort of certainly feel more alive as well, doesn't it? So we've taken an hour and a half on our tacho. That was at 9 hours, and it's now at 7.5 hours. And we're now 8 minutes into our trip. And yeah, I just thought it'd be like an interesting thing to do, just to sort of see how long it would take in real time to go from the northern part of the map down to the southern part. But there's no question, we've just done as the crow flies, and from north to south. But if you were to take all the roads in this particular map, that's a lot of driving. Certainly when you consider it against games like Trucking Logistics, which is a very small map, and even heavy cargo doesn't have the scope that this game does have. So another fuel station there. We don't need that one. Should we make sure we're on the right road? I think that wouldn't hurt. Hold on. So we're opposite Frankfurt there, and we've got Stuttgart, and not too far away really, I reckon. Another 20 minutes or so. I do love these service stations that you can see left and right. I think it's it's a really good feeling when you sort of pull up your truck in these service stations and there's other lorries there. I remember the first time I did it, I was like, oh, this feels kind of real. I think you do get that with Euro Truck and American Truck. You pull into these yards and there's other lorries there, and you do feel like a sense of realism. One of the things that I would love to see in this game, because we do have a tacho, is I would love to see maybe little sort of lay-bys you can pull in and go to sleep on the main roads, because there really isn't any lay-bys you can pull into, or maybe some little forest spots that you could pull in. Typically you would see that in the real world, where you would have places where truck drivers can lay over for the night and stuff, and because all you can really do is pull into these service stations, or of course if you're in town, you could pull over on the side of the street. But it would have been nice to sort of see some nice sort of layovers. And you do kind of have that in Alaskan Road Truckers. You do have, you can pull over anywhere, which of course is a big plus. Certainly better than that Truck Driver Gold and Dutch Connection and such, where you have to pull into a set spot. It's so restrictive now when you have the freedom of these games where you can sleep wherever you like. To go back to that and then have to race across the map just so you can sleep on a sleep icon is quite prehistoric now in so many ways, But I don't know, the likes of Dutch Connection, that game. You know, I bought it on release, did a couple of videos, but it was horrific. It was, there was no question that that game was rushed. You know, certainly with the news of the SCS boys coming in, and it looks like they just wanted to make a quick buck, but really, they've embarrassed themselves with that game, in my opinion. And I think probably one of the best ones. I mean, I really liked the original Truck Driver. In its day, you know, in its day, it was good. The Truck Driver Gold, really, they could have really brought in some quality of life things on that game, which they didn't do. Just gonna check this. So that was a wasted opportunity in my book, you know. And when, of course, you look at the change of developer on Truck Driver, The American Dream, and then Dutch Connection, you know, I did a video where actually I went back to The American Dream, and I actually sort of said, actually, you know, it's in a fairly good state now. You know, it's well, it far surpasses the Dutch Connection, you know. And you would think, you know, they would take all the lessons learned in American Dream and put that into Dutch Connection, but it was just a, you know, it was a terrible game, it really was. So it's now, what's that? Is it 7:15, I think, in the morning on the dashboard? We spoke about trucking before. It's a very chill genre, I think, and it's almost, it's like a funny one to do videos on, really, because, you know, in some sense, you're sat next to me, you know, in this cab, you know, just listening to me waffle. And you know, it's great to interact with you in the comments, but really, you know, it's a very kind of like, you know, you're left to your thoughts when you're driving. You know, it's certainly a place to, certainly for me, on the road, in game or in real life, you know, I'm left to my thoughts, you know, and I love that about driving. But when you're making content, you know, you're talking to yourself, and you know, it's yeah, it's a funny one, really, especially when a game like this is well, with the trucking situation, you know, we're waiting on so many different games. But do let me know in the comments which games you're playing, you know, and or if you've just put them down for now and you're just waiting for something new to come along. Because aside from this graphical update, which is good, you know, it's yeah, it's a very dehydrated genre right now, you know. So Stuttgart is straight on, so I imagine we're going to go straight on. Now this road number 7, which takes you from the north to the south, I was speaking on the last episode that it does seem to be bugged because it's set at a speed limit of 50 miles an hour, and we all agree that this should be an 80 kilometer road and not 50. And so yeah, I don't know if Tox2 needs to take a look at that. There's 2 cars coming together in that wing mirror there, so the collisions do seem to happen a little bit more often than they did, I think. You know, and we were also talking about the drop-offs in this game, you know, where you drop the load, and you know, the fuel trailer is completely fine. That's okay. Checking that mirror. The fuel trailer is completely fine. The car transporter trailer, you know, when you take it you have to sort of reverse into this bay, but it doesn't really make a great deal of sense. You know, you think, well, how are they going to get the cars off? You know, I've reversed into what looks like a forklift loading bay. You know, and with the big trailer, the Gigaline trailer, some of those drop-off points are, there's not enough room to swing the truck around. So that's certainly one of the downfalls about this game. But at least with this graphical update, they would have had a new, excuse me, they would have had a new influx of money, and that's only a good thing. I want to see the companies do well. You know, you want to see the odd bit of DLC come out so you can inject more money into the company. Makes perfect sense to me. I think that's why a shame, you know, had we not seen other trucks, even if they were old trucks. You know, you got this heavy cargo, and they're bringing over the Scania, because at the moment the trucks in heavy cargo are only the MAN trucks. But it would have been nice if they brought in some of the other European trucks like Volvo, like DAF, you know, Iveco, even if they were the older trucks, you know. But I think really, and I hate to say it, but I think this game is done now. You know, I did say at the top of the video that right now I believe it's one of the best trucking games on the console. But I've also said in previous videos, I think out of all the games on the table, this is the one that's going to be most affected by Euro Truck. Because of course it has Germany, which this is, and it also has these two trucks, MAN and Scania, and a whole lot more. And you'll be able to go across countries. You know, there'll be various loads, of course, customization on the trucks. So I do think this is the game that will be the most hit. In fact, if I was to think about it, when Euro Truck drops, this one is going to have to be deleted off my system, because it's, you know, it's the one that is going to be the most obsolete, if you like. You know, Truck and Logistics, they're doing their thing. There's a little map extension coming. I believe it's not very significant from what I understand. And you know, again, the trucks on that game actually look quite good. You know, they spent a lot of time on the truck model. You know, when you brake and when you accelerate, the animated driver in there sort of goes back and forward on the wheel. And you know, again, there's the one thing they perhaps should have done with this, the graphical update, is put a driver in the cab, because when you're in third person, it just looks like a ghost is driving this truck, which is a bit of a shame, really. But perhaps now, you know, that they're done with it. I mean, I think they have to look to the future. But I was very grateful to Tox2. They did hit me 2 codes to give away, and considering I'm still quite a small channel, I was super grateful to them for doing that, you know, and it proper made my day, you know, and we were able to give those codes away. And you know, and 2 people who were not playing the game and didn't have the game now have the game, courtesy of Tox2. So you know, they're a very progressive company. You know, they do look to YouTube and content creators to you know, promote their product, and here we are driving their product. You know, we give praise where it's due, and you know, and this game gets a lot of praise, to be honest with you. But we have to accept that change is a constant in this world, and you know, and you know, things are always changing. And this is the year that we will be getting more truck games here, and of course we'll be covering them here on the channel. Trucking is a key genre, and we have block days. Trucking Tuesdays, of course, is the main day for trucking. Trucking Thursdays, if you haven't seen my January schedule, I was talking about Trucking Thursdays, and that's sort of more of an overflow type thing. So when we get inundated with truck games, we'll be able to use the Thursday. Biking Sunday, of course, Biking Sunday. Ride 6 is right there. Let's just brake for this corner a second. Looking forward to Ride 6. That'll be coming up on releases on February 9th, I think it comes out, which I'm really looking forward to. Thank you if you watched any of my TT videos, Arleman TT, but it might just be that you're here for the trucking, you know. If you're here for the trucks and bikes, that's cool. If you're here for the trucks and horses, that's also cool. If you're here for just the horses, well then obviously you're not listening to this video. But I'm grateful to you all, and I think those three genres give me a you know, a good roundness to the channel. It keeps it variety, but not too much variety, because we don't do sort of like, you know, your simulations. I mean, this is a simulation, right? But we don't do like shop simulator and stuff like that here on the channel. But saying that, I'm still very partial to those games. You know, I still play first-person shooter games. I still play like Tom Clancy. There's a new Ghost Recon dropping this year, and love the Division, Arc Raiders. You know, and I'm also into my racing as well. You know, used to do iRacing back in the day. I've done Gran Turismo League racing before. I've done Formula 1 League racing. This is when I used to be quite quick. I'm getting older now, so I'm not quite as quick as I used to be. But I still enjoy it, you know. I love cars. I love motorbikes, you know. I suppose, really, this channel could have been cars, trucks and motorbikes. But I just find horses so majestic. But, you know, ultimately, horses are still a mode of transport. It's just some of those games are maybe aimed at an audience, sometimes a younger audience of horses. But, you know, we'll watch the space and we'll sort of see how it goes. And, you know, I do enjoy bringing horses to the game, or to the channel. But it just brings that little bit of variety across those three genres. And as the channel grows, who knows, you know. There's quite a few bus games coming out this year. And, you know, there is a video of me talking about bus games and coach games. As you all know by now, I'm sure. I spoke about it a few times, but drove double deckers. Well, passed my licence in Bath. So I drove buses in the city of Bath for a while, which is it's literally a city built on a hill. Some of those residential routes were uphill and down in my you know, in my bus. I drove for a smaller company in Birmingham, which did like shuttle buses. So I've drove like the little metro, are they called metro buses? And then my biggest company that I worked for was Birmingham Central, and drove the double decker on the 97 route. Also drove the 60, which goes up to Sheldon. I drove the 70 and 72, which goes to Solihull, and but my main route was the double deckers on the 97, and I did that for 6 years. And then a few of my colleagues went then into National Express for coaches, and I did that for 3 years, and again made some good friends on the coaches. I have actually, we've got time, I've got a funny story about a coach story. So I was on a motorway, I think it was the M42, so it's like the ring road around Birmingham, and there'd been an incident on the motorway, and so all traffic had come to a stop, like a standstill. And so like people were obviously wanting to use the bathroom. Now of course on the coach there is a toilet, which is completely fine, so all the people on the coach had access to a toilet. And then you'd see sort of all these men, you know, walking up the bank, because obviously a traffic was stopped, and they go and do their business behind a tree. Because women, not quite so lucky, you know, if you've got good knees you can crippy down. But we had people knocking on the coach door asking if they can use the toilet, and there's a button on the outside of the coach that will open the door from the outside. But as a driver, if you hold down the closed door button on the inside of the cab, you can stop people from opening the door. And you know, if your trouble is like you're in such a situation because, oh, are we coming off here? Yeah, like in that situation, if you let one person on the coach to use the toilet, suddenly you've got a whole motorway queuing up to use the bathroom on your bloody coach. So I was like, no, like, can't come on. And I was turning people away who wanted to knock on the coach door so they could use the bloody bathroom. That's a true story, that is. I've got a couple of stories I share, but, you know, as I said before, if there's a really good coach game, like a really good one, then I may bring it to the channel and we'll talk about some of those stories. But okay, I'm quite curious where we are now. So Munchen, of course, Munchen. I was corrected by Tox2 that actually that is Munich. I don't think we're too far away now. We managed to navigate that system quite well. I have said for a long time, I do wish there was an ability to have a speaking sat-nav. I think that would help us on some of these junctions. And of course there is mods on Euro Truck which will give us the ability to have a sat-nav that talks to us. I'm just going to come out here a second. I see that blue car. I'm going to pull out. There we go. But yeah, of course, you know, I know it's not going to come on launch, but with Euro Truck and American Truck, we're also going to have mods. So it's no wonder SCS are taking their time with it. They're going to want to get it right. They're going to want to release a decent product. They're not going to be, you know, having complaints thrown at them and bad press. I think they're going to want to release a decent game. I'm just hoping that we'll see it in, you know, Q2 by the latest. What's that, June? If we can see it by June, I think that would be quite cool. So let's check our stopwatch. We're currently at 30 minutes. And of course we're going to add this to the total time that we did on the first episode. But there's you know, there's definitely a lot of driving you can do here. And as I said, you know, not so long ago, that it's a very chill affair. And you know, if you're driving, you could have like an audio book on, or you could have some music. You could chill out, you know, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing on Euro Truck, you know, with all those loads, all those big roads, the chance for multiplayer as well is going to be quite incredible. So again, that sat-nav still saying that this is a 50-mile-an-hour road, when quite clearly it's not. There's an accident there on the other carriageway. But yeah, just excited for the trucking genre. And you know, I can't wait to bring it to the channel and you know, and see some of your trucks, your creations as well. You know, which truck are you going to go for? You know, with so many choices. I'm definitely going to go for the Leyland DAF on Euro Truck. I might be quite the minority when it comes to the DAF truck, but that's what I'm going for. And I'm going to try and get myself an old Mac on American truck. I'm super excited. I hope that the sounds of the truck are really, really good. You know, I do love good sounds of a truck. And yeah, air brakes, of course, Jake brakes as well. Yeah, just super excited to dive into all of that. So is it worth checking to see how far out we are? So, wow, not far at all now, really, as we come into Munich. Our long drive south is almost at a close. Petrol station coming up. We've managed to do the north to south in what looks like is half a tank of fuel. Oh, let's get back on that throttle. So yeah, we're just over half a tank. So fuel is pretty good in this game. Which is quite good, really. But yeah, just looking forward to starting my careers on, you know, on all these games. We've got a cozy game coming with New Beginnings. We've got Road Truckers. Truck World Australia, I think, is later in the year. I'm sure there's another one. Is there 4? Can't remember now. We've got some DLC coming on this heavy cargo, which is going to be interesting. You know, another good game. We've covered it here on the channel, and we'll be back to normal trucking after this little series of the long drive south. We have got a trucking Thursday this week with the second part of the Alaskan Road Truckers long drive south. But again, if you're still with me and you got through to this part of the video, a massive shout out to you. Thank you for sticking around, being part of this channel. If you're also subscribed and part of the SAS crew, a massive shout out to you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for you know, enjoying the content with me, really. And hopefully if we get onto these multiplayers, we'll be able to drive together and have a little chat about life and everything, you know, everything with that. And it's going to be cool. It'll be cool to interact with some of you guys. So it says Munich straight on. I think I might need this left lane, so I'm just going to wait for this car to pass, pull on over, knock off that indicator. I'm sure it'll be this lane. The signs are pretty good. You can see them in plenty of time. Yep, so Munich is straight over. I didn't realise that it was spelt different though, so that's on me. But I think this is my first time in Munich. Like I said, we were talking as well that I think it would have been quite nice had they implemented some maybe like a weekly challenge that you there was these goods that needed taking from the north part of the map down to the southern part of the map. That would have been quite nice to see. Or maybe you know, one city was desperate for this particular thing, or even delivering to ports, you know, like a shipping container to ports. So I think there would have, you know, there could have been more that they could have done with this game. But again, it comes down to money and time. But it's all good, really. You know, we've got all these trucking games, and they're all sort of pushing one another to be better, and that's a good thing. You know, if you're ever in a situation where you've just got one trucking game, well, then suddenly they can take their foot off the gas because they've got no competition. That's my opinion, anyway. So I think it's straight over here. Starting to see the city of Munich now. I've got the white van. I think I'm going to have to pull over on the left lane. A couple of vehicles coming onto the carriageway. Yeah, they're going to come over. That blue one will come over as well to come into Munich. See, even the speed signs say they're 80, it's now 60 kilometers coming into the city. Coming over the gearbox, got a green light here. First traffic lights in the, oh yeah, on those brakes. Our first traffic lights in this video. But yeah, trucking, I love it. I do love it. You know, oh, I'm quite tired. It's quite early in the morning here when I'm filming this. But I think those lights are also more vibrant as well, so you can see them better. The NPCs are okay walking around. Waiting for these lights to change. It's cool, isn't it? Looking around. Okay, handbrake off. And but yeah, it's a fabulous genre, no question. Of course, I've got no trailer to worry about really, so hack this round here. Now I think our final destination is just a gas station. Because I was able to set the sat nav. So see, you could pull up on the side of these roads and get some sleep, but it would have been nice if you could see some proper lay-bys and some layovers. I know we said, like, it's a shame that this game never received like a small lobby, like even 4 players, where you could have sort of done a little convoy, because it's a big map, you know. So what's the time we're looking at then? So we're now at 39 minutes. Again, waiting for these lights. But traffic runs quite smoothly, certainly in the cities as well. Although, I think the very first episode of this, we did have a couple of trucks come together. So just 2.5 hours on the tacho, that's not too bad. So I think you could probably do maybe 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes driving on a tacho, which is good. I think this might be our stop here. Yeah, this is it. So indicate left. And we'll pull in here and we'll stop our clock. So, our beautiful black truck there. Let's knock off that engine. And we're now at 40, let's stop. We're at 41 minutes and 4 seconds. So we'll add that to the total time, and that is it. So I've just checked out the original video, and that was the Kassel to Kassel, which took 42 minutes, and this has taken 41 minutes. So if we call this 42 minutes, it's pretty much, that was halfway. So we're now down in Munich. We've got Stuttgart, Frankfurt, Kassel, which is halfway. So that's 42 minutes away. And then Hanover, Hamburg, and Kiel. That's 42 minutes away. So it's an hour and 20 minutes to go from north to south. 1 hour and 20 minutes. Well, look, you know, it's just fun. It's just fun to do. And we'll compare it with Alaskan Road Truckers, which the finale will be appearing on Trucking Thursday. But from me to you, thank you once again for joining me on this crazy long drive south. If you like the video, smash like on the way out. It's always super appreciated. And if you're subscribed, a massive shout out to you. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you're not subscribed and you kind of like your trucks, bikes and horses, then maybe this is a channel for you. But until next time, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye.